Yeah, we talk about constitutional crisis. This, I think, is the real constitutional crisis. We've had another Obama-appointed judge, this time Indira Talwani, blocking the Trump administration from cancelling a program introduced by Joe Biden that granted parole and the right to work to more than 500,000 immigrants from countries like Haiti and Venezuela. What happens next year, Josh? What can the administration do about these activist judges who are undermining the authority of the duly elected president?
Well, there's a lot, frankly, that Congress and the president acting in tandem can do. Fortunately for Donald Trump, his party Republicans control both houses of Congress. So if they actually wanted to, they could solve this problem essentially overnight. So here are among the various things they could do. You can, of course, get the ball rolling on judicial impeachment if there is a truly rogue judge. Now, admittedly, that would require a 2/3 majority in the Senate, so it's a bit of a long shot there. But you could pass legislation, Congress could pass, and the president could sign into law such things as jurisdiction stripping legislation. Congress has the ability in our constitutional order to basically dictate what types of cases federal judges can hear. If Congress wants to say that in a certain type of case, a certain cause of action, the federal courts have no jurisdiction, it's only state courts and local courts that hear it, Congress can do that there. When it comes to some of these so-called nationwide injunctions, which are flagrantly and frankly offensively unconstitutional, Congress could abolish that overnight tomorrow if it wanted to. Congress has full authority to detail what remedies a federal court can issue and cannot issue there. And frankly, Rita, I mean, if the courts really ultimately do want to play this game, they really want to go down there. Ultimately, I think it's worth bearing in mind. In the Federalist number 78 from Alexander Hamilton, one of our great founding fathers, he famously said that the judiciary is the least dangerous branch because it has neither force nor will, but merely judgment, and depends upon the efficacy of the executive branch, even for the enforcement of its own judgments. I emphasize that latter part there because it's something of a truism. The courts literally cannot enforce their own orders. In fact, the mere fact that a judicial opinion has been rendered in our system, it is the persuasive ability of that opinion that controls whether the executive will enforce it. So at some point, frankly, their own hubris really could get the better of them.
Now, this is big news. Earlier today, New York Attorney General Tish James, who was behind so much of the lawfare against Donald Trump in New York, has now been referred herself for possible prosecution over allegations of mortgage fraud. What else can you tell me about this, Josh?
Well, this is pretty brand new stuff across the transom, but it looks to me like Tish James listed the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Virginia, as her primary residence back when she was applying for a mortgage back in 2023. The problem is that Tish James has been the Attorney General of New York State for far longer than that there. So, I mean, square that circle for me. How can you legally get away with calling one state your primary residence, try to get a more favorable mortgage interest rate type loan, and on the other hand, you're the Attorney General of a different state there? But, you know, Rita, this is really nothing new. I mean, Democrat lawmakers, Democrat prosecutors, they play by an entirely different set of rules. I mean, Tish James, we all remember her for being front and center of the lawfare, of the Democrat lawfare complex, a sprawling campaign to try to deprive Donald Trump of getting his second term in office there. I think about Fani Willis as well. Fani Willis is in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia. Fani Willis was on the wrong side of the law as well. So many of these Democrat prosecutors, Rita, they just flip their hands. They say, you know what? I am the lawyer here. I'm the prosecutor. Screw you. I'm going to make the rules here. You better come at me there. But you know what? The Trump DOJ is calling her bluff in this case, Tish James, because she could find herself on the wrong side of the law for good. It'll depend on which judge they draw there. But I like what I see so far. I like the aggressiveness of the administration in bringing these charges.
A bit of irony given the cases she pursued against Donald Trump, but there's got to be a reckoning for some of these activist prosecutors. I mean, she launched her whole campaign on the premise of getting Trump. She wasn't even hiding how she was going to politicize that office.
Yeah, 100%. She literally ran in 2018 for Attorney General of New York State on a platform of, I don't like Donald Trump and I am going to get him by any means necessary. There's actually kind of a clever legal analogy here. So in the Constitution, there is a prescription, there's a ban on what is called a bill of attainder. A bill of attainder goes back to the old English Star Chamber in like 7th century England. And a bill of attainder was a king's writ or a parliamentary act of legislation that would single out an individual by name, meaning it was not a general provision. It was just singling out one person for sole exclusive punishment there. So the analogy that I like to draw is that when Tish James ran for office there, she basically ran a bill of attainder political campaign. Now, that's not necessarily illegal. I mean, we have a First Amendment. You can say a lot of crazy stuff on the campaign trail. People, frankly, do it all the time there. But it's morally repulsive. It's morally repulsive there, and it says a lot about her character, frankly, or lack thereof.
Josh Hammer, thanks so much for your time tonight.